Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are back with the Children's Museum of the Lowcountry, giving you a week's worth of events for you and your littles of the Lowcountry. Karen Coltrane, the president and CEO, is here with me now. Karen, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, what's going on this week?
Well, I've got two from the Gilliard Center, so I'm going to start with them first. Cool. They're offering a free Tweet workshops for kids. Ooh. Now, these are workshops, they're on Friday, March 15th. It starts at 10 a.m. at Bees Ferry, West Ashley Library, then at 10:30 at the main library on Calhoun, and then the next day again at the main library, this time at 11 o'clock. So you can check that online, but all these workshops are being done in celebration of their Tweet show that's coming. And I just checked, and they still have some tickets available for their 2 p.m. performances on March 26th and 27th, but the workshops are free. So even if you don't feel like you can buy the ticket to the show, I think it's a great activity for kids ahead of time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
And then, of course, Saturday is March 16th. I wanted to let everybody know we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day, but we are actually closing early that day at 2 o'clock, so you can get a whole morning in with us. But our neighbors at Share House and Bodega are having a grown-up St. Patrick's Day party.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and shut down and let them have that.
That's smart.
Until we renovate and our entrance moves, little breaking news there, up to Ann Street, and then we won't have to shut down when things like this happen in the alley. But we are, because it gets to be pretty fun in there, and we don't want the kids to have to walk through it to get into the museum.
That's very smart.
So in the morning, they're going to enter on Ann Street and come around. But at any rate, I did want to let everybody know that if you come down to the Children's Museum in the morning and you still want to have fun, there's the St. Patrick's Day Festival in Monk's Corner. So you'd be hitting all ends of the Lowcountry, but that goes from noon until 4. Mm-hmm. So that should be a full day for the little ones.
Oh yeah, St. Patrick's Day is loved by all age groups, I feel like.
Oh,
everybody wants to get out there, have their beads on,
and it's shamrocks. It's
spring,
green.
finally.
It's time to get out there. So the last item I had for the weekend is Sunday, and I'm back at the Gilliard Center again, but it's their Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood Live King for a Day. And I know they've been really excited about this. We're excited for them, and the show features new music plus the old PBS favorite songs, and it teaches valuable lessons of kindness and being a friend. So that's a good one. If you can do the ticket for that, that might be fun.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of good stuff at the Gilliard happening.
Yes.
I look at events every day for the show, and there's always some good stuff going on.
Yeah.
Good for kids too.
Yeah. So parent tip.
Let's hear it.
I got inspired because somebody came up to me recently and said, "Oh my gosh, you work at the Children's Museum. You just make children happy all the time." And it made me start to think about happiness and kids. And it kind of occurred to me that it's probably time to talk here about what we see in so many parents trying everything they can to make their children happy now. And there might be a downside to that.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Social scientists are pointing to a lack of emotional resilience as a cause for increase in childhood, teen, and young adult anxiety. So what does that mean, right? So one of the things parents can do to avoid that future, even though we so want to protect our children from anything negative, is instead of redirecting children from tough situations, like when they don't get invited to a party or they don't win the spelling bee, something like that, experts say we should see these as great opportunities to help them build resilience. So when we respond with, "Well, I'm sure Madison likes you a lot. She probably just didn't have room in her birthday party to include you," what the child hears is, "I shouldn't feel upset. I should get myself to a place of emotional comfort." The problem is she still feels those feelings, right? Do you remember that? Any situations like that?
Yes.
Right. But then she feels like she shouldn't feel those feelings because mom or dad's trying to redirect.
True.
And that makes it worse. So instead of protecting our children from tough feelings, we should try to prepare them for them, because that's what life is going to bring them.
My parents do a good job of that. Still to this day, they always say, expect nothing, whatever you get is a reward.
That's a great philosophy.
Yeah.
That's a great philosophy. It's, really what you want to be when your child has a misfortune or sad in some way is to be with them with honesty and loving presence. So if you can remember those two things, we want to protect them. I mean, we can't help it. And I'll give you an example from my life. We lost the family dog when our son was 6 years old.
It's the worst.
It is
the worst pain.
It is the worst. And when I was thinking about how I was going to explain this to my son, and before I got home, my husband beat me and told him that she'd gone off to a farm to live in somewhere else. And I pulled him aside and I said, I don't think we should do that. I think we got to hit this head on.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. And so together we sat him back down and said, you know what? Daddy didn't want you to feel bad, but the truth is that Shelby passed away. She died, and we feel so sad, and we know you feel sad, but we want to be able to feel sad with you and talk about it.
Yeah.
But Shelby, you know, everything dies,
Yeah.
and new things are born. So we were able to kind of move into that conversation with him that was real, authentic, but we stayed in that loving presence with him so that if he started to feel sad later or he saw another dog that looked like her, we could have those conversations. And that helps signal to him that, hey, stuff like this is going to happen. I have to learn to deal with it rather than a redirect. Because like we said, they still probably have the feeling anyway, but you don't want to give the message, feel better right this minute. And I know as a parent, we want to do that because the last thing we ever want is to see our child sad. But if you can change your frame on it and say, this is an opportunity to actually enhance his or her resilience, and they'll be happier later on for it.
Yeah, can you talk about how, you know, stopping this or improving this earlier in life helps later on? Yeah,
it really does, because what adult could ever say, oh, my parents protected me from everything and I've had nothing but a wonderful life, okay? So no, it doesn't work that way. What we need to do is equip our kids with the skills to be able to deal with whatever life is going to throw at them, because it's going to. Now, and like I said at the beginning, what we're seeing is for parents who didn't do that, their children are really struggling. That's what social scientists think is causing the big upticks in anxiety that we're seeing in teens and young adults, because they don't have these coping skills or having to develop them later. We want the kids to develop them early and have them throughout their life.
So parents can help with that.
Parents absolutely can. And you know, it's hard because we want to protect them. You know, so if you can reframe and say, this is an opportunity to build his or her resilience, and I'm going to work on it right now. Be honest and be a loving presence.
I love that tip. That was such a good one. We could all learn from that.
Well, it helps in all relationships.
It does. It does. Karen, thank you so much.
You're welcome.